Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 98. One console for the rest of your life, but you get access to all its games. Which would you choose? With me, George, and as always joined by, no one this time. Surprise, bonus, solo, show. Yes. Something like that. So to those that know the format, this will be no surprise to you, but coming up, we've got some news. In there's some Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo news. Then we've got the feature, which is obviously the title of this week's show. One console for the rest of your life, but you get access to all its games. Which would you choose? Then the real deal, the man himself, he tears down Fifth and Main, bringing us the new release highlights for this week. Then the show ends when I ask this week myself what I'm hoping to play, but it cannot begin. It cannot begin. Ozcat, grip your solo wand. That's not what you were thinking. I don't even know what it is. As I ask myself, George, what have you been playing? Well, no rest for the wicked here, ladies and gentlemen. I have been playing PSP. George, you're regressing. You're getting worse. Why? I don't know. People, I fixed one. I've been playing one. Kind of this week, it's fitted in with how I've been video gaming, it being at night and all that jazz. So, yeah, it kind of worked for me. Some God of War, some, what's it called? Liberty City Stories, I believe it is called. GTA 3 spin-off, which is great. Obviously, the worlds all look a little bit sparse these days, and it's very low res and low poly and all that sort of jazz. But, you know, I was enjoying it. God of Wars both look absolutely awe-inspiring on a handheld from, that predates most chart toppers at the moment. So that probably says quite a lot. I think, really, without getting too lost in the weeds, that's really all I've been playing. Oh, I had a little go on Sea of Thieves. I can see why it has appeal. It's not for me, but I was kind of impressed by the boat and the sails and trimming the sails, and yeah, possibly Assassin's Creed could have benefited from having some of that in there. I'm talking the Assassin's Creed 4 and Rogue. I'm a glutton for those. I think that's probably all I've been playing. Without any further ado, we slip, slide, and accelerate deep into the news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, ishing closer to release. That's a bit like inching closer, but obviously those who know what ishing is are about to find out. It's a little bit of a play on words. Western Yakuza fans have been hounding Sega to localize historical spin-off titles Yakuza Kenzin and Yakuza Ishin for years now. The two games repurpose the characters and gameplay of the Yakuza series for a samurai-era setting, but they've never been released outside of Japan and other Asian territories. Given that the Yakuza series has finally established a strong foothold here in the West, requests for Kenzin and Ishin are at an all-time high. But is it ever going to happen? Well, based on recent comments made by Yakuza producer Daisuke Sato, we wouldn't count it out completely. Earlier this year, Sato stated he'd like to bring Kenzin and Ishin West as remakes, and now Sato says this might be an opportune time to do it, primarily thanks to the success of fellow samurai title Ghost of Tsushima. In an interview with Gameblog, Sato explains, even long before Ghost of Tsushima, I did want to release samurai games like Kenzin and Ishin in the West. Unfortunately, after Yakuza 0, we were very busy with remastering and the numbering Yakuza titles for the PS4. So we missed the opportunity to work on some of these other games. However, if anything, Ghost of Tsushima has helped Western gamers become more interested in samurais. So I think of it as now as a more opportune time to release these titles. Indeed, Ghost of Tsushima has been a huge hit for Sony. Just the other day, news broke the PS4 exclusive has sold over 6.5 million copies, a staggering amount, especially for a new IP. So we live. I've read the news. Now we're going to dissect the news. So we live in a time where these things are still going on, obviously localized games that don't get released anywhere else. But ever since I saw them being played on YouTube, I have, it's no secret I like a wee bit of Yakuza. I'm not even gonna hide that. And Kenzin and Ishin look great. They're just as fun. They're just as funny. They're just as out there. It's almost like they've just medievaled up the town that you normally walk around, because the shops are in the same sort of place and they've got similar names, and what they do is equally similar. Excuse me. So yeah, that coming out would be great. It might not be what people expect, especially coming out probably the next samurai game to probably end up coming out on console after Ghost of Tsushima. It's certainly not that. Oh no. Oh no. But welcome news. It'd be nice to get the full set here in the UK without any import jive going on. So that's great news. Next bit of news, lists of lists. Weren't able to catch the Indie Showcase this week? No worries. You can always go back and watch the on-demand version for yourself, complete with a rundown of announcements that I'm about to make. If you don't fancy watching all the way through, because we are your one-stop shop for news, we'll list off the important reveals. Everything that we're about to list off was revealed during the show, new gameplay trailer and release dates for free-to-play. So let's go through the list. New gameplay and trailer and release date for free-to-play FPS Exomecha. New trailer for upcoming 2021 solo and co-op action RPG The Ascent. That's coming to Games Pass. Single-player Journey of Discovery. Omno arrives 2021. That's coming to Games Pass. Story-rich, herd-like adventure game The Wild at Heart launches this May, also on Games Pass. Vold Train is a fresh take on the survival genre, releasing in 2022. This one caught my eye. Moonglow Bay is a relaxing fishing RPG coming to Games Pass in 2021. This is another one that caught my eye. Art of Rally is a stylized racing experience coming to Xbox Games Pass. That, yes, it's low poly, but it's really, really solid. Looking, the physics look good. The way the cars handle on the tracks looks believable. The solidity of the actual polygons involved look really solid, and they're fixed. And yeah, I was very, very interested in that. Also, a multiplayer survival action game, Craftopia, is coming to Xbox Games Pass. A new gameplay trailer for the upcoming Rust console edition. Launch trailer for Narita Boy on Xbox Games Pass coming next week. Hello Neighbor 2 receives new AI explained trailer. That will be coming to Games Pass. Super Pot is a cooking game with a focus on creativity, coming August 2021. Fabraz has teamed up with Playtronic to release Demon Turf to the world. Chivalry 2 receives an updated trailer ahead of its June 2021 launch. That's not long away either. Updated trailer for the moody and provoking action-adventure Song of Iron. Exo 1 is an interplanetary journey coming to Xbox Series in 2021. That's also coming to Games Pass. Nobody Saves the World from Guacamelee Devs is coming to Games Pass. Astria Ascending is a new RPG from Final Fantasy veterans. That's coming to Games Pass as well. Survival MMO Last Oasis is available already on Xbox Game Preview, so go check that one out. Brand new tactical turn-based RPG, Lost Adolians, coming to Xbox in 2022. This next one. Now, if you've listened to the show for some time, you know I love stuff like this. And this isn't me just being obtuse or being daft or saying, oh, this is the best game coming out on Games Pass. For me personally, this is the game that's usurped Art of Rally in my eyes. It's every blade counts in Lawn Mowing Simulator coming to Xbox soon. Now, there's a reason, if ever I needed one to have Games Pass. Really looking forward to that. It looks very similar to Farming Simulator, but literally just taking place on a lawn. So amazing. Dungeon crawling action roguelike Loot River is heading to Xbox. Death's Door is a fantasy adventure action game from Devolver Digital. Second Extinction brings 3-player co-op shoot to Games Pass this April. New Sci-Fi Squad Management RPG, We Are the Caretakers, arrives in 2021. Blaster Master 03 brings joy blasting action to Xbox consoles this July. We've got a dev diary behind the scenes on Stalker 2, which is also coming to Games Pass, and a developer update on the adventure game Last Stop, which is arriving later this year on Xbox. That's, one could argue, a great list. And some of these claim to be indie games look incredible. Moonglow Bay looks great. Art Rally, yes, it does look like an indie game, you could argue, but it has the build quality of at least a AA game, so that is fantastic. And all joking aside, Lawnmower Simulator looks like a proper AAA Giants farming simulator release. So, yeah, very exciting times for Xbox. That Games Pass is going to get slarred up with stuff, so plenty to pick from. Talking of stuff, free stuff. There's a new limited time distribution event taking place in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's only around for a week. As explained over on Serby.net to celebrate Korean video on Dynamax Adventure, there's a special promo currently taking place that allows all players to receive 12 XP Candy XL, 12 Big Nuggets. The code you'll need is Adventure B9F, which you can obtain from the game's mystery gift option in the menu. This promo will run until the 3rd of April. So grab these items while you can. Serby.net did a Twitter post. New Pokemon Sword Shield distribution has begun. Offers X12 XP, Candy XL, and 12 Big Nuggets. Available through the code Adventure B9F. That's available until $14.59 on the 3rd of April. So pull your fingers out your backsides, go get your stuff. And in case it slipped you by, there's also an offering allowing players to claim 87 Armorite ore and 87 Dynite ore. But you have to be quick. Show airs on a Sunday, and you have until the end of Sunday. So if you're sat there listening to this, pop a rocket up your backside, slide over to your Switch, and get them on the DL. That's what the cool kids say. Get them on the DL. I don't even know what it means. I just copy them. This is what non-cool people do. Anyway, with all that said and done, did we miss anything? Do you, dear listener, have an opinion or take on the news we missed? If so, how would the collected masses get in touch with us, George? Well, good job you asked, George, because we've got the Instagram. On there's a link tree. Every week we put up a post. We ask for your comments. They get featured on the show. It doesn't really get any better than that, does it? Really? We've also got a Twitter post page. We've also got the emails that you can contact us on, questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. In either of the socials, there's also a link tree that will take you to our Discord, which is also free of charge. Prizes to be won in the Discord as well. So now is the time to put all your troubles in your old kit bag, pack up, come on over, meet the community, names you'll recognize all over the place. Every now and then, even I pop by, I know. So it's Discord is wonderful. Community is very kind, very nice, very welcoming. So please get stuck in with all of that. Now, I don't know, because a one-man show is not the easiest thing to do. You forget what you've said, you forget what you're saying, you forget what you're going to say. But to all those that are like, hang on a minute, you never mentioned where Bobby is. Bobby's on an anniversary, day out, trip out, weekend out. Tom's still incarcerated. So I'm sorry, you get in the understudy, the B role, you get in the George Meister. All to yourselves, coming in your ear rolls, like Surely FM. Now, we've arrived at that point in time, the feature. Oh, yeah. Didn't think we'd get there, did you? But we did. One console, you get access to all its library. So which one? As always, we asked you guys your thoughts on the topic and have interwoven those into this feature. Well, let's face it, this week they are the feature, especially when I look down at the Irish Beef's comment. Might take me hopefully it's on point this week. Sometimes he gets a little bit rambly, but it's all part of his charm. Now, I'll go through mine in a little while. Let's just get some things out of the way, because wrapped up in this here, we have some amazing news, because the David Perry, from Games Master, editor of such awesome magazines such as Play in the 90s. This guy was a video game importer to start off with. He's opened numerous Virgin Megastores up and down the UK, like heavily involved in the gaming scene. He is our guest next week. Oh, yes. So keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be putting a post up hopefully today for garnering questions for the mighty and salubrious David Perry. So we can ask him questions about what it was like to review games back in the day, what it was like to be an editor, what it was like to be... David's an unsung hero because he was one of the actual founding members of Games Master. Doing my research, he was there early days, setting it up, wondering how to sort it out. I think he was also responsible for bringing the golden joystick to Games Master, for which it is as equally famous as the show's name itself. So fantastic news. So thank you for joining us next week, David. And episode 99, would you believe? So it'd be amazing to have a look down the video gaming lore, magazines, TV, which isn't really done anymore. So that would be great news to speak to David about that. And he's responded to the question, one soul? No. One console, and you get access to all its libraries. So which one? He just says Amiga. Always. Perfection. Good answer. There's a great mix of games on the Amiga and the Atari ST, which I had. I mean, the Amiga, even I had to admit back in the day, was the better machine. If I was to get a 16-bit home computer now, I've got an ST. It's sadly not the most reliable bit of kit. So if I was to get one to relive the glory days of my youth, I think an Amiga, just a little 500 or something, I don't want the world on a stick, would be fine. Then I could play games like B-17, Flying Fortress, F-19, Formula One Grand Prix. I could play, a whole myriad of games that I would have had back in the day on Pirate. Yeah, I was a bit naughty. I had a lot of bought games that I saved up and bought, but then there was always a 3.5-inch floppy getting passed around at school. And that's not, ask your parents. 3.5-inch floppy is actually a storage medium of choice in the 90s. There were loads of games. A lot of them I've been reminded of doing this show. I think someone not that long ago mentioned about a game called Sleepwalker. And I was like, I had that. I saved up and bought that. It was a red nose game, but I think it got the red nose attached a little bit later on. But the Amiga's got everything. It's got sim games. It's got management games. It's got point and click games. It's got everything you could possibly imagine. Fantastic bit of kit. Obviously, all the platforms of the era, Shadow of the Beast, blah, 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 blah. So the Amiga's a great choice. It is a great choice. Bo Baloba's up next. Here's a man who does the finest comments in gaming. Is it cheating to say Xbox Series X and the backwards compatible library? Well, considering I said yes, and David Perry liked my comment, then yeah, it is. But because you're such a nice man and you've got the nicest voice in gaming, I'll let you have that. But, don't kick the nuts out of it. Up next, it's the Irish beef, so it is. C. Pliskin. Okay. Got a bit of a sore throat still, third week running. And C. Pliskin still insisted... Excuse me. What a show. This will go down in the annals of history as being the one to forget. Yes, the one in between David Perry and Mike Rouse. Not the highest quality caliber, just me here on my own, but couldn't imagine a week with you guys not getting you fix of the show. So sometimes my needs and wants secondary to yours. Oh yeah. No, I won't. No, don't even go on the Discord and say, George, you're important to it. No, don't say that. You're more important to me. C. Pliskin. Sit down, pull yourself a brew. Here we go. Oh, quite a very varied topic you've chosen here. Plus, I like this challenge after Digital Monkery had unintentionally chosen to challenge my regime as king of the longest comment on this podcast. Yes, I am a king, professor and embodiment of Ireland's meat industry. Go figure, sweating faced emoji. R.C. Pliskin, that is awesome. Which he will defend rigorously, so here goes. He's put them in, that's why I did them. Okay, I try and get his comment exactly as it is on the screen. For me, I don't associate consoles with specific games, so to speak, especially with the trend of re-releases, remasters, and remakes ever since the start of the PS4, Xbox One generation, because if I'm playing a particularly old game, I tend to look at it, the copyright year the title was first published in, and think of what I must have been doing back then, even if I was a toddler when it first came out. Because of that, I think if I had to pick one, forgive me, gamers, I'm going to end up dying on air, and that is not a cool look. If I had to pick one, only one out of the nearly 10 long generations of systems, it would most likely be the PlayStation 2. I jumped onto that late into the system's life cycle myself, but when I did, oh boy, I was spoiled for choice. I've already gone over a few that loved from Black Box in previous episodes, like SSX Tricky and Ape Escape 2, but including that tremendous lineup of games from my childhood. I also played the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 and found great fun in shooting my teammates and hitting the respawn button in mid-air just to see my character ragdoll to the ground. The Lord of the Rings games are all very solid movie license games by EA, and I know that George is a big fan, of. He's not wrong. They're actually well put together games by EA there. The Jack Turtology, it's an interesting word, that covered platform shooters and seriously underrated racing game, for sure. Persona 4 first debuted here and serves as one of the main inspirations for my upcoming novel, which I never failed to boast about. It's nervous, smiling with teeth exposed emoji times 2. And as well as that, my introduction to Ratchet & Clank, which effectively became a large part of my childhood and one I'm in the middle of writing about for my upcoming website. It's by no means a unique choice, I'm aware, but I think the reason why is because that lineup just scratches the surface of what this console offered, whether it be you, me, or my mermaid friend at Deep Sea Doodles. There's sure to be something to want you to enter the third place. How did that sound? Smiling with a slight display of perspiration emoji. That sounded great, actually. C. Pliskin, I'll give you that. That's why you're a 2-time world champion of comments. King, professor, and embodiment of Ireland's meat industry. Go figure. Perfection. Even the ahums. It's perfect stuff. That sounded great. PS2 is a great choice. When I was lining myself up, I thought about PS2 just because of the dearth of the library. It's huge. You go into town, go charity shop, more than likely going to be able to bring a game back you don't own. It might not be amazing. It might be absolute shovelware. But you can't go out and not be able to come home with a PlayStation 2 game. It's literally everywhere. So it's an intelligent choice. Really good. Right. Up next, Buse Game Room, a wonder swan, but I also want to be able to read Japanese fluently. Otherwise, this would be a curse and not a good trade-off. Laughing till he cries emoji. A wonder swan. I don't think I would be that obscure, to be honest with you. I might, well, you know me, I'm probably going to go a little bit off the deep end with what my pick is, but Retro Gamer Thomas, you know him well. He's on the Discord, so if you ever want to meet any of these listeners that you hear from, join the Discord. You'll be able to engage with them immediately. He says, oh, that's tricky, fellas. Poised with chin, hand on chin emoji times 3. If I was thinking proper retro, then it's ZX Spectrum for me. Such a massive library of games from all different genres, a real nostalgia hit. If it was going to be a more recent system of sorts, then it would be a tough call between Mega Drive and PS2. Awesome systems with fantastic games. But to be honest, if I had to make that call now, PS3. still looks amazing. Thousands of games with some of my all-time faves from Beyond Two Souls to GTA 4/5. Uncharted series, the list goes on. I hope I didn't overcomplicate too much, lads. No. Nice and simple. It's what we like here. Keep it simple, stupid. Let's have a look now. PS3. All right. Good pick. Either that or the 360. Graphics still hold up. Really. There's some games that look absolutely awe-inspiring. Good choice there on Beyond Two Souls. If you haven't played that game and have the facility to play it, got a remake on PS4 in a double pack with Heavy Rain. If you haven't played that, play it. It's just a joy. And if you haven't played Heavy Rain, as long as you've avoided spoilers to this point, give it a go. So good call, and probably one that foreshadows my own, if I'm honest. It's much more. Dreamcast, no question about it. Arcade in your home. So, yeah, Dreamcast would probably also be on my list. Had some amazing games, really broad, rich, deep library. Always something to go at there. Up next, Bada Bings to Retro Gaming. My original thought process was a PS2, sir, as I think it's the best console. However, thinking about it, the PS3 Fat might be the best choice, as it has the PS2 and the PS1 compatibility. La PS2 sarà per sempre la mia console preferita. When this airs, Italy will actually be playing, he says. Everybody stand for the national anthem, sir, and everybody sit down, sir. Controller emoji, generic, sir. No picking favorites here, sir. We like our console here, sir. And trophy emoji, sir, because we are winners. You're a winner, I'm winner, we all winner. Okay. So another vote for the Fat, the PS3. Interesting. He toyed with the idea of PS2, but he went all in on PS3. He's cheating again because he's using his PS2 and PS1 backwards compatibility. Naughty boy. Comparability, la PS2, sorry, I'm rereading this comment to make sure I've understood his Italian correctly. I'm actually thinking there that he's saying that it's the PS2 that's his favourite. My Italian's not the best, but it normally gets me through. The 16-bit prick. There he is every time he takes a show into really AAA naughty boy territory with his name. Single-handedly makes the show 18. He says, and by the way, if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, do so. It's awesome. He does these little documentaries about the game, and he really hits, for me, the nuances required to either re-elicit that memory from the back of your brain somewhere, or just raises some really solid points on how the game plays and how it's aged or whatever it is. So really check him out. He says, this is a really tough one. I absolutely love the PS1 and PS2, but I'd have to go with the SNES. What? As with most consoles, the genres to choose from are endless, but I feel for me personally, the SNES is the best to offer in each genre. You have great action adventures like Zelda and Breath of Fire, probably the best side-scrollers out for all the consoles in Super Probotector, Super Castlevania. Some racing games are endless too, and there are so many of my all-time favourites. Top Gear, F-Zero, Mario Kart. Need I say more? I don't know, 16 prick. I honestly think the beat-em-ups on that system pooed all over what Sega had to offer. Turtles in Time of Final Fighter Classics, Street Fighter 2 Turbo is the absolute danglies too. So yeah, for me, it has to be the SNES. Hope you guys are well. Looking forward to hearing this one from reading some of those comments. Great question posed by Bobby, who had no intention of being here. The snake. Digital Monkery. Oh, he's a new listener also a vibrant member of the community, so go speak to him on the Discord. He says, it's a tough one, and I'm going to have to make a snap decision on. Assuming backwards compatibility is not a loophole you'll allow us to exploit. No. Well done, Digital Monkery. You listen. I'd go in the direction of PS3. If you allow an exploration of backwards compatibility, PS2, so that I can access the library of PS1, 2, FF9, heart eyes emoji. He's a man. He's a fan of the man with a tail. Up next, Finster Gamer, the head honcho of Downright Circle. It's probably Downright Square. It's Downright Circle. Why do I do this to myself every time? Either which way, check his page. You'll find a link to the best gaming website ever created. IGN, Downright, whatever your chosen shape, he's going to end up, he's just going to drive a train straight through IGN. They are nothing. They are just a bought-off load of shills. Vince the Gamer's not bought off. If we are going down that you can play only one console for the rest of your life route, says Vince the Gamer, he says, then I'll have to go for Series X/S purely because of the backwards compatibility, meaning that it covers several generations worth. If, however, we're talking strictly about the library games specific to that console, my favorite games ever were on the PS1 and PS2. Well, we are, but I'm old, I'm lonely, I'm feeling quite generous. Go on. You can have it. Take it. Run with it. Anyone who wanted backwards compatibility, it's yours. Boba Loba, fine. Take it. Just do what you need. Okay? It's fine. So at that rate, he's going to take the Series X and S. Changes everything, doesn't it? Ryan JP72 says PS2. That's all he's saying this week. Nothing else? Not a dicky bird. Tingle Turner, who I believe is Ezra Midner, but because my American co-host struggled to pronounce it, he changed his name. What a legend. Someone can't pronounce your name? No, not shame on them. Shame on you for not getting down deep-hole, changing your name immediately. I mean, have you ever? Tingle Turner, what a legend. He says, for me, it's got to be the Super NES. I played so many games on that system. I had a great time with it, but I've also got a lot of unfinished business. Oh, he sounds dangerous this week, doesn't he? I didn't get into JRPGs until a few years ago, so there's a wealth of titles, along with games such as Street Fighter 2, Mario Kart, Unirally. Oh, Unirally, that sweet, sweet Unirally. Absolutely belting game. If you haven't checked it out, you are an absolute loser. I'm not even kidding you. If you can emulate it, do it immediately. Such a great game. And I do believe from the minds that brought us GTA as well. And he goes on to say Turtles in Time, Star Fox, so replayable. The list of great games goes on, and there's no chance of the SNES leaving you short of fun. Nice. Thanks, Tingle Turner. Mr. Graham C. just says PlayStation. But I wonder if it got cut off. I wonder if it was PlayStation 2. I think it was. He looks like a PS2 kind of guy. You know, sexy, intelligent, well-spoken. Batmull, here he comes. He says, I love the shape of the Xbox One controller. Fits my hands perfectly. So maybe I'd choose Xbox One / Series X. However, pause, stop, wait, listen. Batmull has not finished. Some of my all-time favorite games, he says, I've played are on 360. So I might have to go with that, actually. Had some of my fondest gaming memories with friends on that machine. Gaming controller emoji. Non-specific brand. Okay. Retro Life 91 is a new listener. Again, they haven't quite caught on to the idea that you write a bit in this section here, but we'll go with it. You know? Don't kick someone in the ghoulies the minute they walk through your front door. Retro Life 91, come in, sit down, grab yourself a prawn vol au vent and some Bombay mix, friend. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is your place. Come join the Discord. PS2 all the way. That's all he says. Oh, yeah. He's a man who's not short with his words, but always has plenty to say. Comic Pictures 79. If you want a piece of geek art, and you're not going to Etsy, Comic Pictures, no space, then I want to ask you, do you even want geek art? He says, I would love to say Amiga or Dreamcast, but I'm going to have to plump for the 360. Massive library of quality games, awesome controller, DVD player, Rodney, nice form factor and a robust, reliable online with a great party system. Smart as hell GUI, blades anyone, and for the all-encompassing Chivos. Chivos, spelled Cheevos, the way he spells it. Sounds like a cheesy snack from America. The Gaming Gram has joined the Discord. It's become part of the very fabric of the show. They say the PS2 is the first one that came to mind when I saw this. So that's what I'm going for. I had a PS1 when I was very little, but when the PS2 came out, that's when I started getting taken over by gaming. Became possessed. I was a big fan of the GTA games, especially San Andreas. The WWE games were consistently good on the PS2. He's not wrong. They are absolutely belting on there. And there's titles like Ratchet and Clank, Gran Turismo 4, Bully, Simpsons Hit and Run, and Need for Speed Underground 2. That game, just to name a few, that kept me glued to the screen for hours and hours at a time. If I could only have one console, then it would have to be the PS2. Not only because of all the great memories I have of playing that console, but the sheer size of the game library will keep you going for the rest of your days. It absolutely would. So fair play. A solid choice, that. A solid choice. I'd be tempted to say the PS2 and the Xbox original, very similar machines. Obviously, the Xbox original had the chance to come to the party last, so it could be the most powerful if that's what they chose. That's what they chose. And the PS2 already had a very strong foothold, so Microsoft were very brave choosing that as their moment to enter. But they had the right package. Now, any game that got released on Xbox and on PS2 looks amazing on original Xbox. I had both back in the day. My PS2 was like my daily runner, and the Xbox was like my, best way to play it in the highest fidelity sort of option. And yeah, the difference between the games sometimes was night and day. It really was. It really, really was. But the Xbox didn't have as many games. So on the PS2, I could always, as I mentioned earlier, even back in the day, you could go into town when it was still stocked on store shelves, and you could bring home the most eccentric tat of a game you could possibly imagine. They had nearly everything. XYZ simulator, you name it. You could find something that was kind of in your niche on PS2 just because of the size of the library. It's literally, it's crazy. The Xbox had some really quality games on it, but quantity over quality. The PS2 had some quality as well. Gran Turismo 4, still to this day, I think it's possibly the best Gran Turismo. So fresh, so good. That menu, the music, the mods, the car list, just the way it all bolts together, it's fantastic. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of PGR, because I surely am, but Gran Turismo 4 might just edge it. And for me, Forza, if you play them back to back, there's something not quite right about Forza. Played on its own in isolation, it's amazing. Played back to back with Gran Turismo, something not right about it. I'm not sure what it is, and I've been able to put my hand on it. It might be the handling or what, I don't know. But yeah, very tough choice here. You got to pick one console for the rest of your life and access to. When I was thinking about this, I thought, I wonder if I should say PS5, because its whole library isn't out yet. But would that technically mean I get access to its whole library now? Oh, George, you surprise us. You've actually used your brain for once. That's an interesting question. But I didn't think it was in spirit of the rules, so you got to pick a console that's out. It's going to make you happy. I'll reveal it in a moment. Patches in Official. Great podcast. The best Scottish podcast you've ever heard in your life. If that's not the PS2, you're insane. That's how they lay it down north of the border. The variety is incredible. You had deep cut RPGs in Shin Megami Tensei series. You had Metal Gear Solids 2 and 3. You have Yakuza. You have GTA, Kingdom Hearts, Killzone, Final Fantasy, Tony Hawk, Time Crisis 2, and tons of multi-plat. Not to mention PS1 backwards compatibility game. Well, yeah, you're right. You've got that now. No one can take that away from you. It's like a quiz. You've all got your backwards compatibles now. Patch isn't official, actually coming in with an absolutely belting list. I think that's swaying me, that is, boys. They're absolutely right. Yeah. Gingy's Games Room, my adopted son, says probably the PS2 TBH. That's what the cool kids put instead of typing out, to be honest. Some absolute class games on it. Having said that, I have fond memories. Probably has fond memories of the N64 as well. Hand on chin, finger stretching across mouth, questioning face emoji. So he's not sure. The Gamer Guy 87 says PS2 easy choice. Wes Robson design. We welcomed him last week. He's back again. Back once again with a Renegade Master. V4 Damager. Power to the Wes Robson design. Xbox 360 followed by the N64. Do you know what? Doing a podcast on your own. I think I've done, 4 of them now? Oh, they're not easy. They're not easy. Imagine talking to yourself for an hour. You forget what you said. You haven't said things that have been in your mind, but you think you have. But, what an absolute. So may I just thank you for listening to this. Rolling Retro TV. They're a new listener. Their first ever show's a George one-man show. So fair play to you. I feel like Dick Van Dyke walking down the street in Mary Poppins with a one-man band on his back. PS2, obviously, fire emoji. So don't know whether he wants to burn it or whether the console, in his opinion, is literal fire. Lotta Name is a new listener. They say Xbox X Series. Xbox Series X. Yes, it's got to be in it. It's got to be. Xbox One X Series, Xbox One. They've written the Xbox X Series, the Xbox Series X. That's basically what they meant there. Don't ever think it, George, okay? There's lots of X's and Xboxes and XX. But he just means, or they just mean, the Xbox Series X. Final comment, and one that's raised my eyebrow. They're a new listener. They're into gaming and lifting. One would imagine that's weights. Or possibly they just go for rides in elevators all over because they like to test the plush carpets, they like the music, and they like that strange stomach feeling as they rise or descend in what we call a lift and the American cousins call elevators. They said Atari. Not sure which one. One would have to imagine the Woody. My God. Every other game off the table, you've got access to the Atari 2600. I'm going to pretend he said the ST. Good call. Good answer, gaming and lifting. Great choice. Classy. I like what you've done. So there's everyone who's got in touch his thoughts. Some great ones there. There's lots of emotion for the PS2, seemingly. Some emotion for the PS3. I got to admit, if I'm going to throw my hat down in the ring, I had both 360 and PS3 back in the day, and the 360 got more play. It just had the most exciting stuff at the beginning of the era. Later on, obviously, PS3 came on strong. But for that reason, there are still, to this day, quite a few games I have yet to experience on PS3. Or maybe I played the Xbox 360 version and haven't played the PS3. So to keep it fresh, to keep it on point, and to keep me a man of habit, I'm going to pick the PS3 as well. All of its peripherals and accessories. So you got the Move ones, and you've got the iToy and the Wonder Books and all the gun games and all of that you can do. So, yeah, that's my choice. I think that's a great question by my co-host, who wasn't around to hear the answers, but you've done us proud. I don't know what he would choose. Shall we have a guess? Should we say it's the... Oh, I don't know. I think he asked me. I guest starred on one of his episodes, because obviously Bobby has his own podcast. And I'm sure he asked me this question. And I picked PS3, I think, from memory. But yeah, you should check it out. Bobby's World podcast on every format you can imagine. I've been a guest on there, and I'm sure he asked me that question. And I'm sure he answered it himself, because I think I insisted. So yeah, if you want to know what his answer would be, I guess it was there. Now, you didn't know this. He's been with me the whole time. He's kind of been my co-host. He's been passing me bits of paper and generally just sitting around smoking dirty Lamberts. He doesn't tear down Fifth and Main, because he's just been sat here the whole time keeping me company. He's a man of few to no words. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot, what's nestled between some counterfeit naps in a dodgy copy of Battlefriend all this week. These are the new release highlights for the week March 22nd to March 28th, 2021. Listeners, these are out in digital or physical, will be by the time this podcast in your feed, but could be region dependent. You're right, Stingers? Stingers is well. Stingers is well. He's going to pick a mummy this week. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he's going to express those to me through the medium of thought, images. That's right. That's right. And he's going to pick a VHS, because he's good like that. First up, Vaporum, Lockdown on Switch, March 22nd. Vaporum Lockdown, a prequel to Vaporum, is a grid-based dungeon crawler RPG in an original steampunk setting, inspired by old-school classics of the genre. Follow the story of Ellie Teller, a scientist struggling to survive disastrous events that happened in the Tower of Ark's Vaporium. Nearly didn't get all my words out, but I managed to survive. Oh, hang on, I need to pick my mummy. Am I allowed to, Stingray, this week? Yeah, I am. Okay. That and that with a special mention for this. Hunting Simulator 2, PS5 and Xbox Series X, March 23rd, with your hunting dog by your side. Explore the Texan deserts and forests of Colorado and Europe as you track down 33 animal species. Choose your gear from over 160 official weapons, accessories, and clothing items, including Browning, Winchester, and Bushnell. Oh, yeah. That is an interesting looking game. The dog section is cool. So, yeah, if you're curious, I think it's first one at least has been on sale on both platforms very recently. So it's also on Steam if you have access to that. Overcooked, all you can eat, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, March 23rd. Experience all the Onion Kingdom has to offer. Overcooked 1 and 2, infused with 4K goodness, running at a smooth 60 FPS, fully remastered and cooked up from scratch. Enjoy 200 plus levels, 7 new, and 80 plus chefs, 3 new. This is the ultimate Overcooked experience. If you ever thought you hadn't experienced everything Overcooked has to offer, March 23rd, it's got you back. Paradise Lost, PC, PS4, Xbox One, March 24th. It's winter, 1980. Sisman, a boy raised in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, finds an abandoned Nazi bunker. Will he find out what he's looking for? Play Paradise Lost and explore an underground world where Slavic mythology mixes with retro-futuristic technology. Discover the last story on Earth. That sounds pretty good, but didn't catch my eye. Black Legend, PS5, PC, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is everywhere. March 25th. A dark, immersive, turn-based strategy RPG, master tactical combat, and the art of the 17th century alchemy to liberate a doomed city from a bloodthirsty cult inspired by the great alchemist Mephisto. I'm in a room on my own, laughing with myself and a figment of my imagination. Stingray loves it. Brilliant. Okay. Now, this one piqued my attention to the point where I jumped in the YouTube machine and went off and checked it out. This title is not what you're going to imagine. El Hijo, a Wild West tale. Oh, George, a Wild West game. Yeah. PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, March 25th. El Hijo is an exciting spaghetti western stealth game in which you guide a 6-year-old boy on his quest to find his mother. It's not what you thought, is it? No, naughty. This one looks kind of cool. Evil Inside, PS4, March 25th. Evil Inside is a first-person psychological horror game. After the death of his mother and the rest of his father for it, Mark decides to contact her using the spiritual board, but it fades away. And here is when it all begins. Mark will face his greatest fears to discover the truth. Meh. Tennis World 2, EU, PS5, Xbox Series X. I think we read this out last week. It got a launch in America, but it's here in Europe now. Where Samantha, PC, March 25th. Your true love, Samantha, has vanished. You'll need to travel a strange realm fraught with traps and puzzles and collectibles in order to find her. Lost love, perilous obstacles, and wool. The cornerstones of any great adventure. Now, here's my first mummy. This is on everything. Balan Wonderland, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, March 26th. Welcome to Balan Wonderland, a wondrous all-action show the likes of which you have never ever seen before. Over 80 different costumes give you all the action you could possibly imagine. That looks great, to be honest with you. Looks like an evolution of the Knights franchise, although it's probably not. It does have that, to me, to my eyes, has that kind of look to the graphics. So I'm quite pleased, intrigued to see what they bring there. Crash Bandicoot 4 out the PC, March 26th. It's about time for a brand whomping new Crash Bandicoot game. Crash forward, see what we did there, into a time-shattered adventure with your favourite marsupials. Neo Cortex and N-Trophy are back at it again and launching an all-out assault on not just this universe, but the entire multiverse. Crash and Coco are here to save the day by reuniting the 4 quantum masks and bending the rules of reality. New abilities? Check. More playable characters? Yep. Alternative dimensions? Obviously. Redonkulous bosses? For sure. Some awesome sauce? You betcha, sweet jorts. Wait, are they actually jorts? Not in this universe. Okay, there you go. That's Crash Bandicoot. 4 for PC. Genius... Genesis Noir, PC, Xbox One, and Switch, March 26th. A noir adventure spanning time and space. When a love triangle between cosmic beings becomes a bitter confrontation, you'll witness a gunshot fired by a jealous god, otherwise known as... That's a fascinating concept. A noir adventure spanning time and space. When a love triangle between cosmic beings becomes a bitter confrontation, you'll witness a gunshot fired by a jealous god, otherwise known as the Big Bang. Jump into the expanding universe and search for a way to destroy creation and save your love. That sounds... That's a sort of dark, highbrow concept I go for. Maybe that's my mummy. I'm all in anyway, so there you go. It Takes Two, PC, PS4, and Xbox, March 26th. Embark on the craziest journey of your life in It Takes Two. Invite a friend to join for free with Friends Pass and work together across a huge variety of gleeful, disruptive gameplay challenges. There you go. Here's my final mummy. It's Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch. Oh, Stingers, what was your mummy? Genesis Noir. Of course it was. Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, March 26th. The critically acclaimed action RPG series returns to the Nintendo Switch. Set in the ninja-inspired land of Kumara Village, explore lush ecosystems and battle fearsome monsters to become the ultimate hunter. It's been half a century since the last calamity struck, but a terrifying new monster has reared its head, threatens to plunge the land into chaos once again. Hunt solo or in a party with friends to earn rewards that you can use to craft a huge variety of weapons and armor. Brand new gameplay systems such as the high-flying wire action and your canine companion Palamute will add exciting new layers to the already robust combat that Monster Hunter is known for. Whether it's at home, on the go, offline, or online, you're ready for your next adventure on the Nintendo Switch. Now, my VHS I'm picking is... Oh, goodness. I didn't come to this prepared, did I? I normally get to vibe off someone else and use that as time for me to think about what I'm going to choose. That doesn't seem to be afforded to me this time. And I've got to pick two, because technically I'm picking for Stingray. Stingray's choosing Only Fools and Horses, the box set. Nice call. I like what you're doing there, Stingers. Classy. And I'm picking the complete series of BBC's The Trainer. Something tells me the music was performed by Cliff Richard. And it's a series about horse racing. Yeah. That's what I'm choosing. With that, I look around and the once filled seat is gone. There's an empty cigarette butt smouldering in the ashtray. Suggests to me he was here. Unbelievable. Those that paid attention at the top of the show, well, they know that I know that you know that everyone knows. Odders, relax tight on the, I think I call it a solo stick. Let's pretend that never happened. But it's too late because you've already listened through everything else and you've got to hear. So it did. So just loosen your grip a little bit, Odders, as I ask myself what I'm hoping to play. What am I hoping to play? Yes, of course. I want to get back to Africa. I want to get back, not the place, the game, I want to get back to Little Big Planet 2. I want to continue just enjoying playing where I'm enjoying playing at the moment, which is the PSP. I don't know whether it's because I'm invested in the platform, because I've stripped it all to bits and put it all back together again or not. I don't know whether it's that or whether I'm just sort of stumbling across the odd game or three that I'm just really enjoying. And it's the fun part is that I've got a couple of rooms set up here for gaming specifically, really. And I choose to sit in my bed and play PSP, which, the other rooms are comfortable, got all the facilities that you need. Everything's just right. And I just feel a little bit lazy. I just want to sit in my bed and play PSP. So really, that's where that's at. And I think with that, that's all said and done. I would take a moment, if I may. Obviously, we always thank you for your time. But if you've got this far on a one-man show, might be time for me to just say thank you for listening. This isn't the outro. This is more of a from the heart sort of thing. Show's been through some changes since its first inception 2 years ago now, as we rapidly approach what's going to be its second anniversary and 100th episode. We've had some great guests recently, which we're going to continue to try and tap into and bring. The community is doing better than it's ever done. So it's nice to see that is just a self-contained thing now, that just keeps itself busy and going, and everybody talks, and that's great. There's a lot more uniting than the show, which is wonderful to see, and some genuine, real friendships building, which I think's worth the show's weight in gold in itself. If someone's found a friend out the back of this, then, this show has done more than it needs to. But if this is your first episode, probably not a glowing example of what the show's all about. So there's always the whole catalogue of all the other shows that we've done, the documentaries, the interviews, the collaborations, the great questions, the deep dives, all the stuff that we've done. Super proud of everything that we've achieved. But this year needs to be an even bigger year. Always had lots of exciting plans for the show, but really now I think we've matured as an audience. We've matured as broadcasters, for want of a better word. Podcasters is probably the correct term. And I feel that now that we're in the right place to really push forward. So if you listen regularly and you haven't subscribed, do me an absolute favor. We've given you nearly 100 episodes of free stuff, and they're all at least an hour and a half long. So you've had some decent fun. Just click subscribe. Great thing is, you'll never miss an episode. So you do yourself a favor, you do me a favor. Next, our listens to review ratio on iTunes is, I'm not even going to beat around the bush here, pathetic. If you listen on iTunes and you haven't liked and reviewed, please do. You know, it literally takes seconds and it costs nothing, but it means that someone else might discover this show, because that's how these things work. So that would be amazing. A lot of you already do, sharing the stories on your Instagram page and on your Twitter and all that sort of stuff. We appreciate that, but we need more of you to do it. I know it's boring, but it's the only charge for this show. You don't even have to do it, but it would mean so much to us if you did. It's not much to ask. Whatever platform or medium you listen on, if there's no option to leave a review, fair play. But if there's an option to click like and follow or drop a heart on us or whatever it is, that would be absolutely amazing. There's loads of other places to get shows now. I think Verbal's one of them. And then we had a great run on Podchaser. So, anywhere you can leave a review. If you're a little bit bored, you've got a spare 5 minutes while you're listening to the show, just go do that. And again, I always say it, and I'm not joking, but please, tell a friend. You have that game you play with all the time. Now, I know we don't listen to each other's recommendations because that's just what we do. That's what humans do. But force this show on people. Force it like your political opinions. Straight on them, okay? All joking aside, you don't realise how much of a difference that makes. If we had, twice as many reviews, like I say, we do well. We're in the charts all over the world, and we are super humble and grateful for that. But if you could just have one more concerted effort in making sure you've left reviews, likes, and shares, and you've subscribed in all the right places, that's all we can ask. And with that, rather... Oh, and most importantly, thank you. I've met some wonderful people through this show, and I want to continue bringing, hopefully you listen because it brings you joy. Hopefully you don't just listen because you hate us or something like that. But one would imagine we bring you some element of joy. If you're listening, thank you. And just think about the joy and enjoyment you get from the show and the community. If someone else, your new best friend might be out there, and this show is the way to get them in your life. So, please like, share, tell everybody. Like I say, trying to, super humble. Thank you for everything that you've done to this point. Genuinely. Yeah, that means you. Yeah. You've done a lot. There's more, but you've done enough. But there's always more. But genuinely, thank you. And with that rather emotional cod to wallop out the way, let's kick back in with this. And that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time, and we look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, George. See you guys.